Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hello and welcome to another round of the V8 Veterans. Tonight's serving of Vindaloo comes to you courtesy of a dash of chicane, a smattering of parabolica, and, well, it's flavoured up to the extreme in the best spices of them all, speed. There's lots of long straights around the 3.6 miles that make up Autodromo Nazionale Monza, and there is a lot of flavour in tonight's commentary crew as well. Scotty Rankin joining you alongside of Thomas Hinz, with Dan Yeamer behind the scenes pushing all the buttons for the 200 plus kilometres of the Temple of Speed. And Hinzy, I do like myself a good curry served up, flavoured full of speed.
I mean, who doesn't?
That came
really? Out
wrong. That came out wrong.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't? It's going to be another one. It's sort of like Daytona, isn't it? It's going to be another fun-filled night full of lots of high-speed runs at the cars, lots of drafting, fuel saving. Again, will be a big thing, and strategies with the fuel. It's going to be kind of a similar vibe, but different as well. Same but different, with some chicanes, a bit more chicanes than at Daytona. Monza usually always produces great racing. I'm sure tonight will be no different, Scott.
Look, I look at that oval that's covered there in red, and the NASCAR fan in me says, ooh, gee, wouldn't it be nice if? But no, please no, never race NASCAR at the Monza oval if you've ever been so inclined. And yes, I will clarify, when I talk about speed, I talk in terms of velocity. That's the attribute that we're looking at here tonight. The Rettifilio chicane is going to cause us a myriad of concerns on the run down to turn number one. It's famed for all the issues that it causes for drivers that are running off a starting grid down to turn one. It is one of the biggest pinch points, lap one, turn one, anywhere. About the only way it could get bigger is if we had a street circuit that, say, had a chicane down at turn one, turn two, Gold Coast, anytime, if you will. But it's tough, it's technical, there's enough width down there at turn one, Hinzy, to go 3 wide on that opening lap. Take some risks and be aggressive. Yeah,
I'm sure, and as well as we saw at Daytona, I mean, these guys are not gonna shy away from some aggression in those early laps. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a similar kind of thing here at Monza. Obviously, with the draft and those big braking zones, gives you that confidence to have a bit of ascend, and I'm sure that we'll see that again tonight. I'm really curious with the strategy to see how that plays out. It was a big part of it at Daytona last week, and once again, it's going to be a huge part here for this 200k race, 35 laps. So, plenty of time for the field to sort itself out and to see who has the right ability this week. See if it's a similar sort of table to last week, or if we have some differences in who's quick and who's slow around here.
Yeah. In terms of things, this is what we're looking at in terms of the driver's feedback here tonight. Tyre wear back in and around the median, right in the middle, down close to 3. Fuel saving ability, well, there's a lot of straights around here. We saw that last week at Daytona as well. The race strategy, although it's a little bit on the lower side for a 200-kilometre race. Overtaking options, Monza, drafting, particularly on a fixed setup, always creates great opportunity for overtakes. It is in the medium to medium-high range. Chance of safety cars is right up 3.8, close to 4. Track difficulty 3.67 as I do jump around, and the confidence level is the lowest number on the board here tonight. So drivers' confidence levels not supremely high. And, well, with all of those chicanes, you can understand why. In terms of where we're heading, though, for the rest of tonight's coverage, like we said, 200 kilometers worth of racing action. What does our race strategy look like in the near future? Well, this is what it's looking like from the numbers of what the race looks like for each of the drivers. 35 laps is going to be the duration. Need to finish a minimum of 27 laps to score your points. The starting fuel in the car, 50 litres will be on board, with the maximum all the way up to 111 litres. Stop at the end of lap 1. You're going to add yourself around about 65 litres or so. Fuel burn in the range of 4.3 to 4.5 litres a lap, and approximately 1 full tank of fuel required to get home. 2 compulsory pit stops, as always, with the window opening at the end of lap 2. Critical lap for your second stop, somewhere in the realm of 10 to 11 laps. Now, you can split it up and run that first 10, then come in around another 10 to 12 in the future, and then come in for that final run to home as well, your third strategy will be an option. That's what it looks like graphically. 10, 11, and 12 seems to be the numbers that we're thinking of might be the best times for your pit stops here tonight. Run it through to about lap 23. Your latest you're looking to run is probably all the way through to lap 29. Give yourself a really short splash, 6-lap run back to home. The drivers are going to try and give themselves a little bit of coverage here. I don't think 6 laps to home, but it'll be stay in the draft pack, I think, Hinsey.
Yeah, keeping in that pack's going to be a huge thing to help. As we saw at Daytona, the guys are able to sit in the pack, are able to save bulk fuel and really help them in their strategy of being able to extend stints or short fuel towards the end, and then to manage that over the back end of the stint. Of course, the thing you got to look at with that, I think we did see one or two guys have it at Daytona, is you don't want to short fuel yourself too much, and that's always the fear I have. Whenever I'm saving for a stop and I have to put a bit less than I know is my full pace, it's always I always like to try and put just a little on top, just to make sure that you don't have to fuel save too much at the end and you actually put yourself too short, which is always something you got to sort of bear in mind, that you're going from potentially that slower pace to full pelt and you're going to use more fuel, so you need to sort of have that covered a bit. And that's something that obviously we saw last week. It caught a few people out, and it's easy to do that and sort of forget to cover that as well. And as you can see, there's the strategies there. You got the early stops with the long run to the end, the more even blue one there, which is the more even, just split it all in half thing, or the later stops, do the later first one and later second one. You're going to lose time early, but then you'll gain it back with that real short late stop, and then you'll have better pace right at the very end for some real big sends at the end of the race there, Scott.
Yeah, indeed. And championship points are now going to come up. We know that it's going to be a Scott Gamble dominated affair. 925 points without a drop round counted thus far. The margin to Blake Delaney, 61 points. The benefit, though, for Scott Gamble is the amount of race wins. He has got so many of them on the board. Michael Whiting sits about another 27 points further back, and those three look very, very comfortable inside your top three. Michael Stewart has moved his way forward, sits 4th place, now is 60 points further back outside of the top three. He's probably going to settle in there for the remainder of the season. Damien Cairns and Dean Flabell both moved up a spot just outside the top 5 for Dean Flabell. He's having a cracker of a season. Oops, might have put the mockers on him here tonight. Chris Miller falls 2 spots, though. He's now 6 points outside of 6th place. So Dean Flabell versus Chris Miller is the battle we'll be keeping our eyes on. And David Kirby, after his first podium of the season, jumps 6 spots to move inside the top 10. Brad Doble's having a phenomenal debut season, sits in a really, really good spot. And Stephen Kennedy rounds out your top 10. Michael Taliancic fell 17 spots last week just due to him not being available for the race at Daytona. The biggest mover, though, Jeff Thomas moves his way up, returns to racing action after a little bit of a hiatus, jumps 8 spots to 33rd. As the season progresses, expect to see him potentially back inside that top 10 after the drop rounds have been accounted for, but he's going to need a clean run to the end of the season. That's what's required from him. And I can tell you, qualifying, by the way, in the background just finished, ladies and gentlemen, so we'll be 5 minutes or so away from getting into our gridding phase. A few more attributes to talk about in terms of that race tonight, but it's just a beautiful track out there, Monza, isn't it? It's just something, I can't wait for Formula One to go here in the very, very near future, just because of how spicy Formula One has now become as well. Yeah. And this is going to be home to, I think, one of the more critical races on the calendar.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, it's as we've seen, we've had some great races actually in the last few races, getting a bunch of different winners now. I think it's 6 or 7 winners now this season, which is the most in quite a long time. So, which I wasn't expecting after obviously how things have been in that front in the last few seasons with the Max domination. But it's good to see those races getting better. And yeah, if that's when the racing is good, Monza tends to produce really good racing in a series when the series is having a really good run of racing. So hopefully it'll be similar here. Hopefully they'll do the case for them, and hopefully we'll see that again tonight as well. And just looking through the little geese through the grid, and there's a couple of names a bit further back that I would expect a bit further up. I tell you what, Delaney's buried in the midfield. You got Travis Hunt's buried a bit as well. There's a few guys in there that a bit buried in the pack for this race. So there's already potential for some very spicy racing in the what's to come tonight, Scott.
Let alone John Latham starting from 39th, way deep in the field. He was the final qualifier and is actually 1.8 seconds off the pace, as he will be forced to cut his way through. Although, what we're looking for next, though, the driver of the day from last week, and he's been on fire this season. This is the best he's been driving. No driver has ever run away at the front like he has thus far this season. Season 20? Well, it's a RaceKraft Simulations driver on top for 9.5's Sim Sports, and Scott Gamble. Look, I'm not going to sit there and say last week was definitely his most exciting race, but it was just he put it to bed, and even... It's more difficult to stay focused, Hinsey, when you're out there and you're on your own and you got things under control. Sometimes you'll relax just a little bit. Sometimes a little mistake will creep in. He just hammered it home lap after lap after lap after lap.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's easy when you're on your own to fall into that kind of default state where you just don't really think about it, and that's when a mistake can happen. I know that when I did a insert pilot challenge race at Nords, worst place to do it, but yeah, I was there going along my own, just no pressure, and I just didn't think for half a second, and then I was in the fence and that was it. So it's very easy to just slip out of that mindset of hitting your marks, doing all the right things, and then you just get a bit too comfortable and your mind wanders, and then that's it. It's very easy to do that, but Scott hasn't had that yet. He's been consistently just pumped in the laps and just putting the results no matter what. No matter how far ahead he has been, it's not, his concentration has never slipped. He's never backed off. He's just kept doing these amazing results, and obviously it shows. And again, he's at the front here tonight, but Ken Latta is here tonight to really hopefully put the screws on Scott a little bit, and hopefully have a really nice duel at the front between those two tonight.
Yeah, indeed, and there's a couple more that will try and stay with them. The toe could mean anything could happen, by the way. The last time that we were here, we did see David Kirby on the podium. Travis Hunt had a failure that even he couldn't put a finger on, and that was after the race was over. He tested everything on the sim, the car just shut off and would not refire, and nobody knew what happened. There was no blown engine, there was no nothing. We went back, we checked, we asked him, he didn't know what happened. So Monza could prove that anything could happen. The difference, though, between then and now is that the compulsory pit stops of 2 had just been implemented at that point in time, and some people had figured the strategy out, some people hadn't. And that was the big old difference. So anything is on the cards. Monza tends to create a mixed-up race. Safety car, well, if we're going to get one, turn 1, lap 1 might be it, and there might be a few guys at the tail end of the field that just fill that tank too.
Exactly right, yeah, exactly. And I guess we have the grittiest Scott, and you go through it.
Yeah, well, it's going to be that row you just saw from the front end of the field. The number 1 car, Scott Gamble, chalks off another pole position with a 1:46.546. However, Ken Latta is only 0.03 of a second further back from him. We'll start off alongside in terms of our front row as it currently stands. And as we walk our way back to row number 2, another strong qualifying performance from the number 180 machine. Matt Vanderkran for Angry Birds Racing, another second row start. Seems the front row is only just a moment away, and at some point in the near future, he's going to crack it. Chad Lewis will start off alongside of him for his best qualifying performance of the season as well. Stephen Kennedy and Jeff Thomas are going to make up row number 3. Apologies for the paints to Stephen Kennedy. We are having some graphical issues with that one, it seems, here tonight. And we'll keep kicking through the field. Robbie Griffiths is going to be starting off alongside of Mark Poynton for row number 4. And again, apologies to any drivers that are not seeing their paints representative here tonight. We've had a crash in our paint downloader system, which is going to cause that one. You're going to see it all night long. I apologize. Not much we can do about it at this point in time. Michael Whiting and Christian Smart are going to be off of row number 5 for an all Fishy Motorsports back end of the top 10. Outside the top 10, Scotty Van Loon puts together another phenomenal qualifying performance, starting to find more opportunities to practice after he comes back from Europe, went on holiday, and all of a sudden found his form. Stewie Hall will start off alongside of him. Chris Miller and David Kirby are going to be off row number 7 for another Fishy Motorsports locked out row number 7. Craig Friend and Greg Sharp will be off along behind them off the 8th row of the grid. Damien Cairns is going to be off row number 9 off alongside of Darren Crosby. And then we'll move back to row number 10, where we'll see Dean Flavel, who sits deep inside the championship standings, an opportunity for him to score more points again tonight. Tim Nicol will be off alongside of him. Blake Delaney, you touched on earlier, Hinsey, 21st to start here for him. He's got a lot of work to do. Start off alongside teammate Jamie McKnight. Brad Doble well, he's been on form the last couple of weeks and not from qualifying. Gary Buckland, though, put together a really strong qualifying performance for himself. And there's, by the way, 0.03 of a second between himself and Brad Doble. There's 0.03 of a second to the next car back, Travis Hunt from Gary Buckland. He'll be starting off alongside of Paul Warwick. It's the man that we're never going to talk about ever again. You never heard me say his name. Nope, didn't happen. Scott McCune starts off alongside of teammate Mario Reale. So many teammates off alongside of each other here tonight on row number 14. Row number 15 and our top 30, Stephen Varga and Robbie Crisdale. Jason Fewens and Glenn Corbett are going to be the first two cars outside the 30. Jim Caperonis put together a reasonable lap to start 33rd. Off alongside of him, Stephen Gretsch. Chris Blanchard, who I found out I grew up in the same town as Chris Blanchard, by the way. I will be going to catch up with him for a cuppa when I move in a couple of weeks' time. Darren Goosey will be starting off alongside of him. Shane Randell, and alongside of him is going to be Halil Cesar, who I believe might actually be a pit lane start here tonight. And then finally rounding us out in terms of the drivers who did qualify, John. Is it a Dan thing?
I think it's a Dan thing, yeah.
It's a Dan thing. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, I assume. Yeah, we are back. Apologies for the technical issues. Unfortunately, it looks like all the dramas that fired off last weekend have continued to drag on over. So anyway, that is the field. We are starting to get set. We are set for 200 kilometers here tonight from Monza, and they are green from the front of the field. That is the Tonight on Zoom wall as they run off down to turn number 1. And I can tell you, Scott Gamble has cracked away from pole position, and Ken Latta is going to race off alongside of him. Matt Vanderkraan starting to try and fire down and around the outside when they get into turn number 1. Chad Lewis still trying to keep the nose in there, and Jeff Thomas was supremely aggressive in behind them. Nearly got to the back of him, and a big wiggle as they come off here. Mark Poynton's gained a whole bunch of spots. I think he was 8th. He's now sits 6th, and he's trying to go the long way around Jeff Thomas. He's going to slot back in. Kennedy's trying to go the long way around these guys. And we look deeper in the field as well. They're still all chalked up all the way back to the chicane because it is such a check-up point on turn 1, lap 1, and they've finally all managed to fire their way down through here. And I think this is the action point. Actually, I'm just looking, there's a couple cars went through that chicane side by side. I think it might have been Whiting and Griffith. Whiting was having a crack at the car just ahead of him, which I think might have been Stephen Kennedy and was.
Yeah, there was a bit of a nose to tail contact with the first chicane, but overall that was actually quite well done for everyone. A lot of the back of the field was basically stopped. That's how slow it is for the first chicane, but everyone seems to get through, which is nice to see. And yeah, Gamble's got a nice clean run with Chad Lewis now up to third. Nice start from him, and they're all starting to now sort themselves out. Nice big line of V8 supercars, some defending and moving further back. I'm seeing Travis Hunt and Brad Doble side by side. I think it's Travis Hunt getting through, but looks like it gets it done on Doble. He'll now slot in there, and there's a bunch of them behind him. Vargas in there, Reale, all bunches back there. But yeah, nice clean start. To be honest, I'm not was expecting the fireworks at the first chicane, didn't see it, but I'm sure I put Monza on it. I'm sure we'll see an absolutely massive crash in the next lap or two.
David Nash is just about to go around the outside of Darren Goosey on the run of the Parabolica as our leaders. Look at this. This is the tail end of the field, and it's important to keep half an eye back here. And I tell you that with focus from real world commentators, some of the advice I got given when I met a few of them was make sure you learn all about the guys at the back end of the field. Sometimes that's where your dramas come from. It gives you something to talk about. And I tell you what, they are squabbling. The good thing about vets, though, everyone's out there to race for the position that they're in. It does create great racing up and down the field. And again, Nash is going to have a crack at Goosey on the run down to turn number 1. Gets to the inside. Still trying to pull up alongside Goosey. Deep in. Doesn't quite pinch a brake. They both still get through there. Nash will have to go the wrong way around. Remember, didn't set a qualifying time. Goes to the outside at turn 2. Finally gets that job done. And have a look at John Latham just ahead of these guys. Latham was another car who failed to set a quick qualifying lap. Oh, car in the fence. Hard in the fence at the second chicane. And it's Scotty Van Loon, I think we're hearing.
It is, yeah, yep. Oh, that's
huge. And he just... It's the name. It's the first name. Anyone by the name of Scott never gets away scot-free.
No. and he's called for a tow. So it looks like we might well have an early safety car here potentially, because he's obviously right in the firing line there at the chicane. So I'd say that should be a safety car. It sure is. There you go. So this should trigger surely the first round of stops. And I think the pit lane's going to get very busy.
I would say, I think 90% of the field's going to come. I think if you're John Latham, I think if you're David Nash and you're in the back of the field, why not? Because you've got pace over everyone you're around. If you've got pace, don't do what everyone else is doing.
But I guess that's the thing, though, isn't it? It's whether there's another safety car. We'll see what the play will be for most. But obviously the fronts, they're all going to pit at the front. We know that's going to happen. That's just going to be in they come now. We knew that was going to happen. Everyone at the front's going to pit. Yeah, it looks like everyone down. Still no one who hasn't pitted yet, I don't think. Yep, everyone's still peeling in. I haven't seen anybody yet who isn't doing it. We're down to 25th, and they're still pitting. I think everyone. Hang on. Oh, there's someone. I think Crisdale's not pitting. Yeah, and who is that? Another one.
Might have been
Glenn
Mark
Corbett.
Cotton?
Yeah,
No,
Glenn Corbett. Yeah. So Corbett, Crisdale, and Cesar also. I think they're the only three that haven't stopped. So there you go. I was expecting a couple more at the back to take it, but apparently not. So these three, the only three, they're going to play the game and see if they can gain from it. And this always makes it interesting on the restart because you've got these guys on slightly more worn tyres. Their pace is maybe not quite where they should be on the restart. And
Matt Vanderkraan has rolled the dice. I think the big key is who's that with the 14-second stops? Travis Hunt, who's gone searching for some track position because he definitely feels he's out of sequence. So he's done that. The problem is they're giving up time in the pit lane right now. So whatever they don't take, right, 30 seconds to fill the car is what we're looking at. Should be about the right time to fill the car, right? And is that right for about 60 litres, 60, maybe 65 to 68 litres, I think, somewhere in that range.
It makes sense because of obviously it looks like most people have done about 28 to 30 seconds. It looks like, but as you say, I've got a couple in there that have gone less to get that track position. Obviously, Travis has won. I saw another couple in there that were the same that have gone. All right, I want to get some track position now. Hopefully, make some gains. I'm going to lose time in the second stop, but hopefully they gain enough time that it ends up being a net gain overall is what they're aiming for. So this restart's going to be very interesting with the three at the front. This could produce some real spice.
Let's say, and Dan Yeoman's going to spit this number in the background in my ear. What does it take to fully fill a tank? So right now, it's about 44 seconds to fill the tank static. Now, the thing to consider is they could add about 65 to 68 litres at that stop, which is 40-ish litres short. They're not going to need all 40 of those remaining litres now. It's going to be about 35 or so, because that's how much they'll save under the safety car period, which means I reckon we've got, about half of that. So it's going to be about 23 seconds at this second stop. So all up, it's going to be 60-ish seconds, 60, 70 seconds worth of fuel you've got to add. So for Travis Hunt, he's only added 15 seconds worth of that. So he's now got to add 55 seconds-ish worth of fuel. It's going to be 45-ish seconds worth of fuel to get home.
Yeah, that's a lot to have to add. And he's at he's behind. He's second in line behind. He's first of the second line behind Matt Vanderkraan. We're just looking at the replay now of what happened to Van Loon. I can actually see the mine, so I'm curious. This is on his own. Oh, yep. Wait, a little bit too much curb, just a bit too much curb, bit too greedy. And too hot as well. Yeah, and the car's just immediately leaped on him. And I wonder if we'll have a look here if he got kind of caught out by the car ahead. Yeah, you can see he's broken later than him, but no, not really spooked. Oh, okay, yeah, a little contact as well. Probably didn't help as well. So, yeah, shame. These are the supercars. They do like to mount the curbs, as we know. The supercars, seen plenty of images of them being on four wheels up to the ground nearly off curbs, but you can still go a bit too much, and that can be the result if you're not careful. So, big shame for Scotty. He's obviously, as you say, he's found good pace in the last couple of weeks, but he'll have to move on next week and hopefully have a better run.
Well, his qualifying pace, if you just looked at his qualifying pace over the last few weeks since he's come back, it's been supreme. His qualifying pace has been really, really good. His race pace has still been, it's definitely not as quick as his qualifying pace, but relative to the cars around him, only a touch slower. He's progressed maybe a little bit backwards. Some weeks he's been a little bit faster than that. He's just making mistakes right now, and the mistakes are costing him big time. It's not that he's costing other... I haven't seen him make major contact with another car yet and ruin another car's race. That hasn't happened. But it's mistakes that are putting himself on the fence for a couple of weeks now. So, I mean, he'll recover. He'll look at things. He's clearly happy with the way that he's performing, but, you know, race situations, sometimes you just got to take that 2-3% out of it.
Yeah, exactly it. Yeah, it's the sort of dance, isn't it? Yeah, you want to be at your max pace, but not too much on the edge that you're going to lose it on a regular basis or anything like that. So it's just finding that little balance to maybe just bring it back just a pinch enough that you're still going at a good pace, but you're not risking any incidents as well. So yeah, it's something you'll look at. I'm sure you'll.
Go ahead, Hinsey. Go ahead.
Sorry, Scott. Sorry, yeah, just going to say sorry for the technical difficulties. It's one of those weeks, as we were saying, isn't it, where there's been a lot of just tech not being good, isn't it? Tech's decided that this week is not the week.
Yep, it is what it is, unfortunately, and there's not much more that certainly can be done about it. Well, at this point in time, you can see Scotty Van Loon at the tail end of the field is now into pit lane and I believe has managed to maintain his position on the lead lap. So he is going to catch up to these guys at a rate of speed. The thing that the audience at home won't know and won't be aware of is that you cannot take a compulsory pit stop off a toe, I believe. Dropping out of a server, you still need to come back in and serve your compulsory pit stop. So that's what he's doing at the moment. He's getting that compulsory pit stop checked off and he'll get to the back end of the train. He'll have the most fuel on board out of everyone, barring Shane Randell. And the problem for those guys at the tail end is that these guys are on the run to the Ascari chicane. There is only a short run down to Parabolica, but it is long enough that if these guys are rattling around at full racing speed, not the 80 kilometres our race leader's going at. For Glenn Corbett, though, this is his first ever laps led in Vets, and we can say that with confidence here, Hinsey.
Yeah, and it's on a restart too, which is just really the real pressure. Like, it's already pressure enough just leading laps, but he's also got to do this whole restart sequence from the lead too. So it's going to be a real test for him to get the right jump here. And as you can see, there he is with his still that beautiful VR headset ready to go. And we'll see how he goes here. It's just last corner, you would say, or just before it. And no, he's going to go very early. Yeah, there you go.
Well, that's not going to allow us, those two guys at the tail end of the field, to close on him. They're actually going to be about half a lap behind our race leaders when we get down to things. Cannot overlap prior to the apex of the final corner, cannot overtake until the start-finish line. But Glenn Corbett is going to set out for his first ever lap under green flag conditions as a V8 veteran split one leader. He's off sequence on fuel strategy, but I don't care. The number next to his name right now says P1, and now there's going to be an overlap. I believe Scott Gamble's already having a go at Travis Hunt, indeed he is, so he's going to slop immediately in for a little bit of an advantage and gets that one done. Travis Hunt doesn't fight it too heavily. And now Van der Kraan is going to be looking backwards with an underfueled car, trying to snag some track position and throw the dice a little bit differently. Chris Miller's dropped a few spots. Gained one on the start of the restart, so he's up another spot looking to try and advance himself. And those critical numbers we're going to be looking at is the numbers on the right-hand side of your timing tower, on the left-hand side of your screen right now. That is fuel that they've added to the car. Dave Kirby's another one that's got a couple seconds short up, but just a little bit of track position, not a shoal heat. And there's a huge check-up. I think Crisdale got himself a slowdown penalty at the second chicane, and now another car's run wide as they come off. It's Vanderkrant who's out there in the dirt, and he needs to maintain track position. Anything he loses from here means that his strategy will not work. He's going to lose 3 of them as it currently stands. Crisdale's back through. Ken Ladder's coming up to try and have another go, and then they're going to go side by side as they run down to the Ascari chicane. Vanderkrant skates back through on Ken Ladder, and all that's allowed is Scott Gamble to all of a sudden put 3 cars between himself and his nearest driver on the same fuel strategy.
Yeah, that was really well done from Scott. Really clean restart, just made the moves where he needed to, and now he's lead of the cars that have pitted, and will be looking to get through the top 2 as quick as he can. Glenn Corbett still in the lead, so he now led a restart and has held the lead for a lap, so he's now led a lap in full under green flag racing. Great stuff there. But Cesar is looking threatening here to have a go down into turn 1. I wonder if he will or he's safe fuel. No, he's going to have a look. He has a go at it down into turn 1. He brakes later into the chicane. The lock up. Oh, still locking up, but he gets it done and has the lead. But look who's right there. Scott Gamble is ready to take them both.
Well, the problem with fighting is you all of a sudden start to lose time, and credit to Halil Cesar there. That brake pinch, that front right tyre, pinched about 3 separate times on the run down to turn number 1, and he got it unlocked again and able to pull that car up reasonably well. Gamble's now going to try and have a go down the inside of Corbett as well, trying to get back to second place. How much does Corbett fight? It doesn't too much. Lets him on through. Now it's going to be an opportunity for Travis Hunt to line up and have a crack at Corbett. This has actually worked out not too bad for him. Crisdale's picked up another slowdown penalty as he slides back down through the order. Now he's going to have Chad Lewis wrapping on his rear bumper. And the thing about safety car restarts is they create a little bit of drama. And slowdown penalties seem to be the cause of a lot of them. Crisdale again has another big old whack of the attitude on that car out of the Lesmos.
He's having quite a restart, isn't he, at the moment, as we see ahead. Travis Hunt looking at Corbett but not able to get the move done just yet. But yeah, it's as usual, restarts always, everyone gets packed together. It's sort of a reset. Everyone has to reset mentally of where they are, and it does tend to produce a bit more spiciness in the racing. But there's a big old line all the way down to something like 15th or so, 15th or so in this lead pack, all ready to go. And you can see again Hunt trying to get by Corbett defending down into the Parabolica, but I think he'll just do the up and under, and he sure will. And there goes Travis, and I think Vanderkrant will also follow through. And we've got also Scott Gamble looking, probably going to have a look, you'd say, at Cesar into turn 1 here. He'll probably get the move done, but they're still going side by side behind. Now it's Ken Ladder as well, trying to follow his way through. Robert Crisdale's got Chad Lewis lining him up as well. So it's all kicking off here, and there's Vanderkrant down the inside. Ken Ladder, he wants to follow. I think he will if Corbett gives him the room. Oh, just gives him the room. And I think he'll get him done around the outside. No, he moved done. And yeah, they're slowly picking the way through in these early phases. And actually, they kept the lead. So Scott did not get the move done. So now Cesar's led a lap on top of it too.
Well, yeah, and I was just wondering whether or not Gamble's actually rolling out, and he's going, okay, I don't need to lead this thing. I can try and disappear off into the sunset if I want, but I can just save some fuel here. There's no pressure. That now changes because Travis Hunt's now closed up, and whilst Hunt isn't necessarily on the same fuel strategy, I tell you what, Crisdale's still trying to block and still trying to keep his position in line. Chad Lewis now getting blocked once again, and again Crisdale wide at the first Lesmo. So Crisdale, I think, is probably going to be the centre of attention for a good while yet as he's still trying to work his way forward. And there's been drama in the midfield, by the way. We've got from about 27 on back is a huge old split. And he's just calm. He just looks calm behind the wheel, doesn't he? There's no attitude. He's clearly saving.
Yeah. I looked back at the run in turn 1, and he lifted like halfway down the straight. He could have easily had a go, but he decided to save fuel. So yeah, he's obviously looked at it and gone. As you say, he's gone. I mean, I could just pass him and run away, but I don't need to. And also, I'm sure he knows that Travis Hunt obviously is not on his fuel strategy. Vanderkrant isn't on his fuel strategy, so he's got a couple of cars between him and Kenny. He's the person who's on that similar strategy to him, so he doesn't have to get it done, but he may need to soon. We'll see if the pace is a little too slow for him, but we'll find out now. Does he run down the straight? Obviously, if he wants to, he can do it here, but will he lift again? Let's have a look. I think he might do it this time. Yeah, he's going to go for it this time. Yeah, obviously, I think because everyone else now is clear, he's gone, all right, now I've got to start making a move and try to get some clean air between him and his rivals. And that's a nice, easy move down to turn 1, and he now gets back into the lead of this race on lap 8 of 35.
Now Travis Hunt in one corner goes from being 2 or 3 car lengths back off of Halil Cesar to he was right on that rear bumper, and I get the feeling he wants to get this done as soon as possible, because if he can clear Cesar right now, he might be able to maintain that tow of Gamble up ahead of him. And he's just looking again, just feeling that mirror, just trying to make a real pest of himself at the moment, which is the best thing that he possibly can be doing, hoping that Cesar might pick himself up. He's a little bit too much curb, grabbed that slowdown penalty, and he sat third. The last time V8 veterans came to Monza in split 1, he was in 3rd position, and some sort of hardware drama, something switched the engine off in that car. He was on for potentially what might have been his first ever V8 veterans split 1 race win. It wasn't to be that night. Tonight he's back on the podium in the early stages of this race, albeit the strategy isn't in his favour. He will be one of the first cars to pit though, to go on to that second stop.
Yeah. Oh, massive
battle
wiggle.
The overtake.
Yeah, this has got to be done now. He's got the run. Yeah, that'll be done now for him, and that's right on cue for him too, because he should, if you can get it done quick enough here, just maybe stay in the draft of Scotty Gamble. It does go out to about a second and a half or so, I believe. The draft, it can extend beyond a second. So if he can keep in that second, I mean, obviously it's not as powerful once you get out to that sort of distance, but it is still there. So if he can keep it there, but Cesar wants to fight him. I think he's at this point, he's like, I don't care. I'm here to have a good time at the front. So he wants to try and fight him into turn 1, and I think he actually might, or Van der Kraan as well is there. Who's going to break later? Should be Travis, and he does, gets it done. And Van der Kraan might slip down the inside. No, decides to hold back for now. But yes, he looks like, so 0.8 the line. He obviously lost a little time there, but I'd say he's maybe just got the draft. So he needs to put in real clean laps now for the next couple of laps to try and stick in that draft. So he can stick with Scotty Gamble, then that is going to be a huge advantage for him over
Well, he's got,
else.
what, half the fuel that Gamble took onto that first stop as well, so he's going to have himself, what, a 30-litre, which will probably be about 20 kilos or so, advantage over Scott Gamble. But the problem is we just know how the pace of Gamble is the real key factor. Cesar's now settled back into this one, and I wonder whether Cesar thinks maybe that wasn't my fight. I don't get the feeling, and Ken Ladder now dives it down the inside. The Lesmos, by the way, to get that spot over Matt van der Kraan. So he moves himself up one more and just about hangs onto the draft of Halil Cesar up ahead of him, which is quite key for these guys in their race as it currently stands.
I also saw, I was looking back at, you mentioned back in,
There's been an incident for David Nash towards the tail end of the field as well, and it's something to do with turn 1, turn 2. So I'm not 100% certain what that is, but he's in that group of that pack that's been split off. So if we can try and find what happened at Doble, that might tell us the story of what's going on with that entire race scenario.
Yeah, it's just because I noticed it before you mentioned it, and then I actually looked back, and yeah, he was at the very back of the field, and he's now at the very back, off the back as well. So I'm guessing this might be what it was. Down into turn 1, gets the move done. Just it's such a light touch too. He's just the lightest touch, but obviously cars aren't loaded at that point. That's all it takes to spin it. And then obviously now has to wait for the whole field to go past. Oh, that is such a shame. And yeah, now he's about 4 seconds off the last car to Shane Randall. So not a good night so far for Doble. I think in practice he put in a good time. He was in the top 10 in practice. So I think in qualifying he wasn't able to put the time that he potentially could have. And as we know, I mean, that's, if you can't put that time in, you know you can, it complicates things. You end up getting involved in that kind of stuff, and it can really ruin your race. So it's a big shame for Doble, but he's still going. He'll be hoping for a safety car to bring him back in this, and maybe try and salvage something.
Yeah, and we're watching that battle on board at the moment with David Nash and Chris Blanchard, as Blanchard's going to try and go the long way around. Nash is going to run him out of room. And they will make contact. That's going to present an opportunity for Goosey to try and skip through on the inside. And Scotty Van Loon has brought his way back into this one. And he's rejoined the tail. Remember how I said he was off the tail end of this pack? Well, he's now on it. And now starting to fight for some positions. The difficulty for Van Loon is there is no more mulligans, though. Fast repair in the bin.
Yeah, no, it's going to have to be, he's going to hope for a clean one. We just got the the penalty come through for Jamie McKnight, that would be for the contact with Brad Dobler that we just looked at. So he's going to have to serve a tour through the pit lane. You see it's pop up on screen there as well. So back to at the front, it's still Scott Gamble leading, and 1.5 seconds Travis Hunt. He just put about 3 or 4 tenths on him that lap. So at the moment, he's breaking away ever so slightly, but he's got Ken Latta there and Matt Vanderkraner in behind Travis Hunt, looking pretty threatening. So I'd say they'll try and have a go. Well, we'll see. Again, we'll see. They might have a go. They might try to save some fuel as Christian Smart down the inside of a car there. That's Stuart Hall. So it's moved done into the first corner. But yeah, we'll see what they decide here. Whether they decide to have a go at Travis Hunt, or if it's better to save fuel. I'd imagine they'll probably try and save initially, and then if the gap's getting a bit much, they might try and have a go. But yeah, they've managed to break through, and then Crisdale in fit as well. And then he's got a bunch of them behind him there, down to about P9 in Mark Point, who's having another clean run too.
So there was something up happened with David Nash before we jumped to them as well. And Race Control just came back and said, I'm pretty sure it was lap 9, by the way, down at the first chicane, deemed a racing incident. So that might tell us more of that story, because Nash was obviously, again, out of sequence and a little bit further back. This is in Blanchard that we did just see. Okay. That was on the most recent.
No. I think that might have been it.
So that would have been it. And remember how he didn't give Blanchard much space the second time through? Well, that explains why.
Yeah, that explains. I saw it. I'm like, there's a bit of aggression there, and I think that explains. There's a bit of the return serve. It's a bit like, oh, we want to do that, do we? Well, here you go. If you wanna go that route, then I can do that too. So yeah, a bit of biffo, as they say. But I tell you what, I just saw Robert Crisdale wide at the Parabolica, and they've let Chad Lewis through, and they're all queued up. And I think Michael Whiting's now going to have a go down to turn 1. 3 wide, are we? I think they are. 3 wide, it looks like. Yep. I don't know. Be careful on this one, guys. Be careful. This is dangerous stuff. And will they get through? Chad's going to be pinched on the inside. Look at that. Scott McCune as well having a look, and they all get through. Oh, no, where Crisdale goes. And I think that was all on his own. He just lit it up.
That was all on his own, yeah. And look, you mentioned his name. He's inside the top 10. Just as an update, I'm looking at that. Go, you good thing in the 77. But anyway, I'm celebrating that one. I'm not going to mention him, and it's ruined. What have we done?
I know. I'll be honest. Earlier on, he was in a pack earlier, and I deliberately just glossed over him. So I'm like, I don't want to do it. I'm not doing it. I don't want to do it. I
think we're so far down the rabbit hole that it does not matter whether we bring him up or not. It'll just happen. And then he can laugh that it was us the whole time.
At least he's got something to go on, doesn't he? He can say, well, the commentators mentioned me, so that's what it was. As soon as that was mentioned, my race is done.
Talked about every week.
True. Yeah, true. But yeah, so he got through that nicely, and unfortunately for Crisdale, as we saw, he didn't. Just had to sort of just bag it up, and it's so easy to do that. Get that little bit too keen on the throttle, and you're round. So it's a shame for him. He drops back now after a pretty good run up to that point. So it's a real shame for him. But yeah,
the only longer-running joke in sim racing broadcasting is how much you could not pay Sam Mann to be a race controller. Scott McCune is the second longest-running joke.
It's good. As you say, he gets the mention most. Well, a second-hand mention. There's a lot of times you get to mention, but he gets second-hand mention nearly every week. So I guess it's free promo. So yeah, but he's looking quite threatening on Chad Lewis here, and he's going to have a look. Chad Lewis right defensive, but he is going to have a look down the inside, and I think he'll get it done as well. It might even be Whiting too. Oh no! Oh, that was so close.
I was so worried when Michael Whiting turned in there that he was just going to get turned off the nose of Scott McCune. And look, McCune couldn't have gone anywhere if he had turned in, but at the same time, like, you don't. The benefit, and this is a debate that I'll have to the other time with people, is in that situation, if you're in Michael Whiting's shoes, why do you not leave the space? And the reason is, well, because I want to turn in, it's my corner, I'm entitled to it. But if you turn in, you get tagged, he gets sent to the rear, so risk versus reward. Anyway, pass for second place is on. Pretty easily done from Ken Latta.
Yeah, and I think Travis Hunt knew that there. He knew not to fight that one, and I think he's obviously thinking he'll try and tag on with Kenny and hopefully use his pace to get away. And I mean, if they keep fighting behind him like they are, it's only going to help their races as well. So he'll be yeah,
that's the big factor that works in Travis Hunt's favour, right? Is he chooses when he gets to control when the battles happen, and he doesn't. He may even drop behind Matt van der Kraan here. Who the big thing for Matt van der Kraan, the developing point that he's had to work on. We talked about this to no end. Is tyre life. That is his big Achilles heel. Well, we're a reasonable run into this stint. You know, we're 10 laps since we bolted these tyres on. 2 of them are under the safety car. And we're starting to get to that point. He's just sliced down the inside of Travis Hunt as well. And Hunt may just go to fuel save mode here.
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah. Yeah, I think, Damage is saying as well. I think the same. I think he kind of needs to try and make back the time loss that they have doing such short fuel on that first stop. So I think he kind of needs to just sit behind these guys now, just go into fuel save, get back some of that fuel he lost. And also, hopefully, get some pace to be able to gallop away too. As they're still fighting behind, it's now Whiting and McKeon again, and a 2x2.
There's a car around. There's a car around at Ascari. At the exit of Ascari. It's at the exit of Ascari, and it's whoever's in 38. Oh no! Don't tell me! Don't tell me! Oh, you've told me.
Oh, again, gee, that is what a shame. And I think there goes the engine. So I think this will be another safety car. Have to be. He's right in the firing line.
And I tell you what, about the only thing that's dancing tonight is his bonnet.
yeah. Oh, that is such a shame. That's such a shame. That's 2, and we'll see again. I'm curious for whether there was any help or not. I've got a feeling might have been on his own, but we'll have a look in the replay. But yeah, what a shame. Yeah, again, qualified really well. 11th again, actually. I think he qualified 11th last week, actually. Yeah, pretty sure he did. So 2 11ths in a row, so another really good qualifying. And unfortunately, just the race has just not gone his way at all. But obviously now, you'd imagine, well, anyone who can will be pitting, but I'm not sure if there's...
Yeah, you would, absolutely.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, from Travis Hunt's perspective, he wanted this to go another couple laps green, right? So safety car has been called. They're all firing down as quickly as they possibly can at this point in time because they're trying to get back to the pit lane.
Yep. They're trying to obviously lose as little time as they can on the in lap, and they're all someone locked up in there. Who's that? I just see a bunch of smoke at the Parabolica. Oh, it's that's my point. No, he's actually lost a spot in all of that as he went deep at Parabolica. But they all come as expected. Everyone's able to get home now, so they will do just that.
Clout the barriers on the way in.
Looked like he nearly did. Oh, look if he actually did. No, I think he just avoided it, but gee, it was close.
Oh, he made contact, but it was with the wheel, I think.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's an interesting one. That's weird.
I think he has made contact there.
Yeah, he did touch it.
Has.
Yeah, and if that's the wrong angle, he may need to use the fast brake. So we know how sensitive the wheels are to steering damage now. So if he hit that at the wrong angle, it could have actually done some damage. He wasn't really dodging it as well.
Pit lane to sort of assess whether or not it was okay. So, he's had a reasonable period of time.
I think he thinks it's okay because I think he's kind of...
Whoa. Okay, strategy update. We did have one car that stayed out.
Oh, yeah.
I think this is the wrong call.
Yeah, yep. It's too... especially when it's the critical lap. I think that's the thing. When it is the critical lap and everyone is going to pit, I don't think staying out's the call because he literally needs a safety car, and even then he's still going to bleed time because everyone else is pitted. So yeah, I don't think this is going to work out for Michael Stewart. I know why, because he's one I was going to mention. He again did a really nice time. He was good in practice. He had a lot of pace, and then I think he had a disconnection during qualifying, which is why he didn't set a time. So he has the pace to be up there, but I don't think this is going to quite work out for him, unfortunately.
Wow, okay, well, this is going to be an interesting run to home now because it's going to be 20 laps from the end of this lap. We'll probably do one more lap behind the safety car as well. So it's going to be a 19-lap run, green flag to home, we think, at this point in time as the field's going to be condensed. The benefit is for all those cars that got collected in that drama at the tail end of the field and sort of had to fight their way back through, well, they're now been released to go back racing. Robert Crisdale went to the rear of the field after all of that. Glenn Corbett is also at the tail end of the field, and Hallel says it. So that's the 3 that stayed out under the first safety car. The problem for them, there's only one other car in this race. Oh, so there was a little bit of battle involved.
He was helped, yes. So this one wasn't on his own. Oh my goodness. Gee, that is so, wow, he went into that wall so fast. Oh, and oh, gee, I tell you what, that's
Blanchard?
Yeah, Blanchard, yeah. That was, yeah. So just with Darren Goosey side by side, bit of contact. And obviously, contact at that point through a scurry is, yeah, it's not going to end well. We'll have a look here. I think, let's have a look. Did he come across a bit? Yeah, it's probably a little bit too much of a squeeze. And in the end, that came back to bite him there. It's such a huge contact with the wall. And yeah, it's a real shame for him. Not a good night for Scotty, but as we say, he'll come back, I'm sure, next week and bounce back strong.
So interestingly, and I think this is the big key, so you remember how you were just talking about cars that can and cars that can't make it home? There are 4 cars that have to do one more compulsory pit stop to make it home. Michael Stewart, who leads the race, has done 1 at lap 3. And then the 3 from the first caution period that didn't pit as well. They all can't make it home. They've all got 1 more stop to do. So that's the risk of staying out under a safety car. And for those 3 cars, then
I was about to say. Yeah. Well, did they do a double stop then? That's what I'm just thinking, because they were. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so he has done 2. Is it the same for the 2 behind him? I'm guessing it is.
I'm
yeah.
assuming, yeah.
Yeah. So I figured. I was thinking when we saw them at the back, I was like, hang on, that's weird. I mean, I know they had to take more fuel. They shouldn't have lost that much. And yeah, it's because they've obviously done their double.
So he's come in. Says he's come in at the end of lap 10.
Yeah.
Glenn Corbett has come in at the end of lap 10 as well, and Crisdale was the 3rd, and he come in at the end of lap 12, so he just barely got it in before the safety car.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think he should be okay, but he just barely got that one in, I think, before the safety car was called. So all 3. So it's just Michael Stewart. Michael Stewart's the only driver left to take his compulsory stop. He is leading the race, though.
Does get some laps led, which is always a nice stat to have. You know, you can always, no matter how you finish, you can go, yeah, but you know, I led a few laps, so that's pretty cool. But yeah. Oh yeah, it's bonus points. I always forget about the bonus points. Exactly, as Dan just said in my ear. Yeah, it's bonus points too. So he is going to get bonus points, but might be at the cost of the end result potentially. But we'll see. I mean, again, depends if a safety car falls in the right point that could help him out. But again, he's the only one who has to stop. So even if it's a safety car. Again, I mean, everyone else keeps going. He stops. He drops to the back anyway. So I don't see it working out, but we'll see. We'll see. I guess when you're buried in the pack, it's, you know, you're sort of like, well, I'm buried in the pack anyway, so I may as well have a go and see what happens.
Yeah, but this one doesn't make sense.
No, I agree. But we'll see. We'll see. It's going to be interesting because he's at the front, in front of a bunch of the whole field that's just pitted with fresh tyres. So we'll see how hard he fights it. I mean, at this point, if I were him, if I committed to this, I'd probably fight to the death, to be honest, at this point, because I mean, you may as well. You're trying to hold track position really more than anything else. So, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes as a safety car be in this lap, and we'll be back to another run down to another stampede down to turn 1 stuff.
Yeah, and an interesting thing for Travis Hunt is that he's not potentially added enough fuel to get this thing home, but it has changed the order up. So in terms of the effective, if he can make this car get home from where he is, he sits effective 3rd, because you've got Michael Stewart ahead of him that hasn't pit. And yeah, Jeff Thomas sits in behind him. So there's a few cars in this mix that have actually gambled a little bit and undercut in terms of fuel. You'll see the safety car pull away from the field here in just a few moments. And Travis did add more fuel to add, but I didn't think it was that little fuel compared to everyone else. I thought he needed to add probably about another 5 seconds worth of fuel. So that's a lot of fuel. Yeah, if he has actually, if this is an underfuel, then he's underfueled by a bit, which could make it interesting for him. But I mean, it is Monza, again, like Daytona. If there's one place where you can short fuel and say this is the place, so I'm assuming he'll just hopefully, I'm guessing his plan is to stick behind Whiting, hold on to that 3rd effective on the road if he can. He's got his teammate behind, who theoretically will be obviously playing along with him as well, so that'll help too. There was a bit of a rear gunner from Ken and Co behind, so yeah, it's we'll see how it goes. Another hypersonic racing car for the restart too, so it's two for them for the restart score. Start of the night.
I just saw it then, I'm like, hang on, no, it's the same team. So both in VR2. So VR for the win on restarts. We'll see if he goes as early as Glenn does, or he goes
No,
a bit
I
later in
think
this
he's
one.
going to go late. Interestingly, Ken Ladder and Chad Lewis 6 and 7. So they have lost spots out of this. Michael Whiting might have gambled a little bit and undercut himself in terms of fuel because he's gained a lot of spots back up. Leader's now going to accelerate back up to racing speed for Michael Stewart, who will race down into the Parabolica. Got a massive jump, but from here on out, everyone else is on fresh rubber. He is not, and he's got some work to do if he's trying to gain himself a little bit of strategy position. Ken Ladder is already crawling all over the rear bumper of Jeff Thomas, and he's going to poke his nose out and have a look at the first crack on the run down to turn number 1. Where does Gamble go? Does he look for an dive down into turn number 1? He doesn't. And Jeff Thomas lifted early to make that one nice and easy. So I think that tells you that he is definitely fuel saving already.
Yeah, and also I guess it is Ken that's he's one of the quickest guys in the field, so it might have been a bit of that too. Although he's had a really slow exit out of that chicane there for Jeff Thomas, which is possibly lost him some time. Yeah, a little bit slow the exit there for Jeff Thomas, but still going along. It looks like Scott Gamble down the inside already, so he's already dispatched Michael Stewart. He did not mess around, or has he?
Done.
Oh no, he hasn't. Yeah, they're still going side by side. Michael, as I said, Michael's going to fight this. I don't see why not. You may as well. But I think, Scott's just going to do it around the outside, gets it done. And look at the checkup this is done. And I think Travis Hunt, I don't think he wants to pass Michael Whiting. He nearly had to there because of the checkup, but he slots in for now. And that's one down, many more coming at him now.
Yeah, now Ken Ladder he was a long way back on the run into turn number 1. Him and Jeff Thomas had actually fallen about 0.8 of a second back. Well, that all got solved when they got down to the second chicane. Now Ladder's really crawling all over Travis Hunt. And no opportunity to get a job done there. So now we'll really get an opportunity to see what the pace of this 32 machine is like. Is he going to be fuel saving? How much is he saving? And what does that look like? How defensive does he get? Jeff Thomas has got a little bit of a breakaway from Chad Lewis. I tell you what, Chad has had a supreme night tonight. Pace has been good from the 727. An opportunity. I think this is going to be his best opportunity for a podium and run wide as Travis Hunt. As Ladder does get the job done down the inside. So the JWM cars get relined up on the front straight and let the drafting games begin. You thought you saw him last week in Daytona? Make it 2 in a row.
Yeah, and I think, Travis just probably squeezed. I'd say, Michael Stewart. Down the inside of Gamble. He's locked up. He's off at turn 1. Jeez, that was very well done. He's giving all sorts of heart attacks to everybody. Gee, that was... Oh no, it's on the wall. That's a huge crash behind. Is that?
Don't tell me.
No, come on. Like that's look. All right, I guess I'm sending the letter this week to Scott. I guess it's my turn. All right, it'll be on the way, Scott. I'll send you. Oh my goodness.
At least we celebrated him whilst he was in a good spot.
Yes,
that.
We got to show him in a good spot, so we could say it was good. There was good moments. It wasn't all bad. Oh my goodness. God, that's crazy. Yet again. We'll get to the replay. Also, I did notice someone's smoking, and that is Craig Friend, who's got a blown engine, I think. He's limping it back. And I don't know if he was involved or if he's just... His car looks clean, though, so I wonder if he just shifted a bit too soon. He's popped the engine on the way into turn 1, maybe. I'm just going to have a listen. He's still got power, so he's still going, but that can't be long until that thing conks out.
That smoke's getting worse and worse and worse, so... Yeah, perhaps could be involved in the McCune incident too. Who knows? So this is the games that go on the run of turn number 1. And by the way, for Michael Stewart, the only penalty that came out of that wasn't a cut course. It was just a slow down penalty. So he just goes for the shift. So he realises he's in deep. It's the shift back to first gear.
Yeah.
Where the rear end skates out from underneath him. But that's okay. He's done a reasonable job to that point. Now we look in the background for Scott McCune, and this will be a replay 3 wide with Blake Delaney, and is that Corbett?
Yeah.
And then
there goes
the goes.
Let's go right one. Yeah. And that was just so he just said there was a lot happened in that one little stretch of track. We have Michael Stewart run deep, Craig Friend blow the engine.
Live pictures down at turn 1. Travis Hunt's just been turned around.
He's going to have to wait for the whole field too. He's going to drop to the very back as well. Jeez, what a shame. He was putting on a very a very strategic race. And then that's happened to him, and always at the back end of that car is pretty heavily damaged too. So he's side by side with Michael Stewart, and then gets Stewart. Gets turned
And the
around on the
difficulty is the road goes left there. It's just a natural little kink, and sometimes you just lose your relative markers of where you are in the space. So that's Jeff Thomas ahead. He's just come off the curve a fraction.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I don't think they were going to make contact. I think Netcode's taken over.
I don't think there's any. I think they'll class that as a racing incident. I would say that looked like it was a bit of Netcode, and it's always that thing. As soon as that starts, it just sucks cars together, and that's it. So such a shame. He was running so well, and now he's at the very back. So he'll be limping around, hoping for a safe go. Nearly at the back, sorry, because I'm guessing McCune is behind him, but. Big shame for him. But what that has done is really spaced out the front of the field now. So Gamble now leads 1.2 seconds from the ladder. Michael Whiting is in third. Jeff Thomas now is on his own. He's actually between the two packs in fourth. Chad Lewis up to fifth. Robbie Griffiths up in P6 having a great run. He's having a bit of a look at Chad Lewis. Then Michael Stewart now drops to seventh. Christian Smart, top 10. Good run there. Mike Poynton ninth. And there's Stephen Candy in the 10th at the moment. Let's tell you what, there's Mike Poynton having a look at Christian Smart as well. But that's spread out the top 10 a little bit in these battles, but they are still battling ferociously behind them.
How about this story, though? John Latham from the rear of the field to 17th spot.
Yeah.
So after failing to set a representative qualifying time, he's plus 22 as it currently stands, and I think he's also got the fastest lap of the race.
Someone locked up into that corner there, but he's had a great race, really nice run from him. There's a few stories like that actually. There's a few of them up. Tim Nicol, 20th to 11th. Darren Crosby, 18th to 12th. So there's a few that have come some good distance in this race to make some great spots, which is good to see.
To put a line for Michael Stewart, he's gained the most spots at the moment. He won't hang on to that because he's still got another pit stop to do here.
And David Nash, another one. Paul Burns, another couple that are a bit further back, but they've gained good spots. Nash is 43rd to 25th, so good little run for him. So some good runs in this race that have come through. It's been and what's that? There's a netcode incident there being reported for one of them as well. So I think that is Hunt Stewart. So there you go. So they've already it is a netcode indeed. So no action on that one. So not that it really helps Travis Hunt's race now as he's back in 38 on his own. Oh,
somebody was way off wide at Ascari, and Paul Burns. No, sorry, Jim Caperonis. We're now looking at.
I'll look and see if I can see that one because I think I didn't spot that. Oh yeah. Well,
he might not get Chubby Buns Burger's driver of the day, but he does get Chubby Buns' wildest ride thus far.
That was a good save too. That was, losing on the exit of Ascari, it can end in big tears, but he managed to save that. So good save from Jim. Having a decent race himself actually, 33rd to 27th. Oh, I see up ahead again. Is that like 3 wide nearly into turn 1? That was Jason Fewens and Stephen Varga fighting on with David Nash in that little pack there. That's 21st down to about 26th, all battling away.
This is line just before we drift away from Jim Caperonis. Do you reckon he had a burger delivery to someone in the crowd out there?
I think you're right. I mean, why not? That's perfect. You make it look like you have a drift. You're like, oh, I'm off track. Look, there's your burger. All right, cool, keep going.
Chubby Buns Burgers now available on menu log direct to Monza.
Speed drive-by. Hate to say, I was just saying how good a race he was having, and I believe he just had a slow down in turn 1, so he dropped 10 to 30. So typical. It happens again. I'm not having a good run today. It's another letter I've got to send now. Jeez.
Oh, well, I think they're all having a little bit of fun. At least Monza just creates something unique. But yeah, I'm watching along with this drive from John Latham, and like you said, fastest lap of the day at the moment. So he is absolutely making some ground, and albeit definitely didn't qualify representative where he should be. But, some of the most fun times in memory of racing is doing a little bit of the last to first challenge. If your season's not going that well and you're not in the championship series, stuff it, I'll start at the back. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good way to challenge yourself and see what you can do. Test your overtaking, obviously. Keep clear of incidents. Your sort of awareness, really, because you would obviously be aware of who you're around. You're testing all that too. So it's a good way to test all that. And he's definitely done it well today, up to 70 so far. Still plenty of time for him to make more spots. And if he keeps his pace up, I'd say he'll definitely make a few more spots as well, as we see Van der Kran up the inside of Stuart Hall in front of him. And I think he's got the move done clean into turn 1. I think also Darren Crosby might have made a move on Chris Miller in front of him too. So moves being made in the field up into turn 1, but for now the top 3 have absolutely checked out. They've got 5 seconds back to Chad Lewis and Jeff Thomas, who I think might just switch position. I think Chad Lewis just got him. Yeah, so Chad Lewis just made that move on Jeff, but look at that line all the way down to Mark Point in P9 for that little pack from 3rd to 9th. And it's typical sort of Monza, isn't it? You get these segregated packs of about 5-6 cars or so will start forming throughout the field, and that's what we're seeing at the moment as we look back at Jeff Thomas from Chad Lewis, who having another good run, but he's got an angry pack of cars ready to have a go over here, Scott.
I'll tell you what, John Latham has just about made contact with Stuart Hall's rear bumper a number of times on this lap. Now he's going to pull up alongside of him as we're watching that one, with Robbie Griffiths now getting a lot closer as well in this battle for 4th, 5th and 6th, and Latham's just about going to go around the outside of Stewie Hall, so he moves his way up one more spot to 16. Damien Cairns will be the next driver in his sight. Cairns is having a reasonable night at the office, not a great night. And Matt van der Kran, that strategy did not work out for him where he underfueled earlier on, 14th on the road when he's... I reckon Van der Kran's had pace enough to be on the podium tonight.
Yeah, no, definitely, I agree. Yeah, he's got the pace to have been with the top 3 getting away right now. But instead, he's as we saw, the strategy hasn't worked, and he's buried back in the pack a bit. But he's got some air now to catch the next pack. And as I said, that next pack, well, this one ahead of him is up to about P11 or so. And I think this is Darren Crosby and Chris Miller side by side. Miller having a look down into turn 1. Is he going to get it done? Looks like he will. Yep, Crosby's going to let him have it. Move done, but yeah, it's the next target for Van der Kran, 14th now. That'll be his next target. Those guys in front, they're all up to about 10th, all pretty close. And then you've got that big pack from Chad Lewis back, from 4th on back. So I mean, he'll be hoping if they can keep fighting as David Nash there down the inside of Steve Barger too.
It's a strong recovery.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, if he can keep going and they keep fighting, he can advantage from that. Also, another recovery of sorts is Doble. Remember, he was at the back earlier on when he got spun up to P30th, so he's also making progress. Get back through the field from Swinson's early.
Yeah, so a few drivers that are really on that recovery effort, which is good to see. I mean, tough day at the office is very, very easy to throw the toys out of the cot and hang up the hat and call it a night, go somewhere else. But Doble's not doing that. He's sat back down, applied himself and gone back forwards again.
And you see another one in the background there too in those shots is I believe that's Chris Dale. Yeah, Chris Dale also recovering. So there's actually there's a fair few guys on recovery drives of some sort at the moment. Here's another one. So 33rd for him now, but obviously we know he has pace for a big old slide out of Lesmo too as well. And I think that I'm guessing in the background that is it's actually Glenn Corbin. So I was going to say I thought that was Michael Stewart, but no, it's Glenn Corbin. Michael Stewart still hasn't pitted. Actually, he's still going up at the front. But I guess he's obviously, as we said, he's hanging out for a safety card. Just hoping that he gets one, but if not, he'll just obviously take the pain and go from there. But he'll hang on, I'm sure, for as long as he can. And he's obviously seeing this pack pretty nicely, actually, so he'll be okay with that, although they are sort of bleeding a little bit of time battling. I'll have the pace difference. So Chad Lewis did a 48.5 that lap, Scott Gamble a 47.8. So yeah, the top 3 galloping away. They are nose to tail now. So it's Scott Gamble, Ken Latta, Michael Whiting, all nose to tail. Up the front is Stewart defending there from Robbie Griffiths and does so into turn 1. Oh, sorry, takes the spot. Sorry, takes it back from Griffiths. So he now slots in front of him. And yeah, this pack now is extending. So now Stephen Candy is now tagged onto this. And the rest, Tim Nicol, Chris Miller, they're all not far from tagging onto this pack and making it about a 10 or 11 car pack.
Yeah, and the fact that he's taking time back says, hey, Robbie Griffiths maybe, hasn't necessarily got the long run pace and he might be vulnerable. And remember, this is going to be a 19-lap run to home on these tyres. So you absolutely do need to make them last. In the meantime, Chad Lewis is doing that and doing that well enough, but it's everyone else is sort of just tagging onto him, but he's got the benefit of the clean air as it currently stands. I can tell you, remember we were talking about Matt van der Kran a couple laps ago? And how he was just trying to make that mission again on the next pack? He's there.
Yeah. See,
he's the back end of this pack.
Yeah, I just looked back and he is there. I think we saw it on the back, looking back at the smoke. That was Michael Stewart very nearly turning Jeff Thomas there into this mode too. He got very close to the back quarter of that car, but thankfully didn't end up causing dramas. But damn, he was close to causing for some incidents there, but got away with it. So yeah, he's looking strong, Stewart. Actually, he's looking like I think he obviously because of his strategy, he wants to get a move on here. And I guess these guys are not quite the pace he wants, but he's looking pretty strong, which is good for him, but obviously the strategy's still not ideal. But yeah, Van der Kran looking strong. He's looking at the back of Stephen Candy now. P13, as you say, he's already at the back of these guys. Sorry, not Candy, I'm Darren Crosby. And yeah, he's already in the back of this pack. He'll be hoping they fight more in this top 4 battle, because that might give him a chance to salvage top 10, possibly better. Again, I think you're right. His pace is I reckon one of the best in the field. He has the pace to be at the lead of this pack. As Chad Lewis now has been passed by Jeff Thomas, and Michael Stewart as well is going to have a go. Will he get it done? No, he won't. But yeah, Jeff Thomas now leads this pack again. And again, this squabbling, all it's doing is helping the guys at the back of this pack keep with it and letting the top 3 get away to the tune of 8.4 seconds.
Well, that says to me that Jeff Thomas isn't under a fuel question mark, so it would have only been Travis Hunt that was under that fuel question mark. Van der Kran does close in, and the other thing about Van der Kran closing in is now John Latham and Damien Cairns have now joined the back end of this pack, so they were a little bit off and on their own, and they've now driven their way back up. Something's just happened to Darren Goose, the other Darren, in the split. I think it's on the main straight or turn 1.
Yeah.
On this lap that you just mentioned.
Oh, yeah, I can kind of see it, but the broadcast will get better. Oh, okay. So it looks like side by side. I'm guessing that's Paul Burns. I think he's side by side with into turn 1, and sort of a bit of bit of extended biff and barge down into turn 1. Some a bit of extended hip and shouldering going on there. I think they're going to probably say that it'd be a racing incident.
Yeah, I think he's come off the exit.
Yeah.
I don't think he's necessarily aware, because the car sort of hops sideways a little bit in the braking zone. He thinks he's braking straight. He's actually not quite braking straight. Not quite, but there was not enough room there for he needed to brake just about perfectly straight. Van der Kran, by the way, right now looking to the inside of Darren Crosby, so he might pick up another spot on the run down to Parabolica, and indeed gets to the inside. Not quite done. He'll get the shorter way around the corner. 3/4 clear. Now he's clear, so he will slot back in, moves himself into 13th place, and now John Latham recognises, all right, thanks boys, that's an opportunity. I'm going to close right back up onto his rear bumper as well. And Crosby's going to poke the nose back out. Latham's going to poke his nose out as well, and he yields to drop back in.
Yeah, I think he was a bit out of gas, I think, down there. But he's going to try and switch around. Oh, Crosby left the room. I didn't know if he would, but he did. But I was about to say, as we were just looking at, all of a sudden, John Latham has also appeared on this pack. And remember, he was behind Damien Cairns about 2 laps ago. He's already got clear and caught this pack, so that just shows the pace. And yeah, he did a 47.8 last lap. I don't know what the leaders do. I'm just trying to have a look at that. Yeah, he's only a 10th off Scotty Gamble on that last lap. So
and he's had an opportunity to try and overtake a couple of cars in that as well and checked up. So
yeah, that is impressive pace. Look at that. That's So he's matching the leader. That's how much pace he's got. So surely he's got to be eyeing a top 10 here. Sure, this one.
Yeah, there's time on the board as well. 9 laps left to run at the end of this one. So 9.5 as it currently stands around the 5.8 kilometres of Monza. So into the final stanza of the race now. Run down to this chicane. Couple of cars looking for an overtaking opportunity.
Yeah, I think that's a new one there, as John Latham gets the move done on Darren Crosby down to the Parabolica. But yeah, I think that is the new holder of the wildest ride there from Van der Kran. It's a bit more wild, I think, because he looked fine and then it just went right after he got off the curb there. But he held it. So some really good saves tonight, actually, too. We've seen some really nice saves and some really good avoidance of incidents from a lot of people. There's who's that in the background? I think it's Damien Cairns getting down the inside. David Kirby, a bit of contact. And then Delaney's going to have a look too. I think that's inadvertent. He didn't really want to do that, but they were so checked up that he just kind of had to send it to avoid contact. So, yeah, they all got through that. That looked a bit dicey, but they got through it in the end. But yes, Van der Kran now he's already nearly caught up to Tim Nicol. And yeah, John Latham lost time battling, but he's already nearly caught that back up. So I think, Latham's the one to watch. He'll be looking to get in the top 10 for sure, and there's definitely a chance of it. There is time. They have spread out a little bit, I've noticed, in this battle pack. So now since Jeff Thomas has led it, they have picked up the pace a little bit, so the pace is a little bit stronger now in this pack, so it might not be quite so easy to make the moves as it was before.
Yeah, but John Latham is absolutely grabbing pace out of them. He's just taking 0.4 of a second out of Van der Kroon in the first 2 sectors, why don't you? So, and my sectors, by the way, split into 5 across the lap, not the 3 that you guys are looking at home. So I've got a few extra timing beacons to work with there. But, yeah, he's making some time in that number 24 car. But Van der Kroon's also making a little bit of time on Tim Nicol ahead of him. And Tim Nicol, known for being a relatively difficult car to overtake in this field as well. He will get the elbows out and not be afraid to battle. And Van der Kroon thinks about it on the run to the Parabolica and reckons there's going to be a better opportunity on the run out of the Parabolica and on the run to turn number 1, which I think is probably the better decision to be made.
There's also a side-by-side for that P4 battle, Chad Lewis and Jeff Thomas. Side-by-side down into the first corner, and Robbie Griffiths is wanting to get involved too. I think he'll sit back though. He knows 3 wide's not to go into turn 1. So Chad Lewis back through again. Robbie Griffiths also going to slip through as well, potentially. Or yes, just he gets through 2. So Jeff Thomas loses 2 for 1 in the 1 corner.
Christian Smart just got a rough up by Mark Poynton. So it wasn't enough to trigger anything, and Poynton lifted off.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Neil, that checkup though, lucky that didn't cause any more damage. I think, yeah, Miller and that just touched them, but thankfully there wasn't any bigger damage because that was a bit of a checkup there.
Yeah, and now it's down to the problem they've got. And Paul Burns just had a big old incident, and this is at the 2nd chicane. No, that's the 1st chicane.
Yeah, he'd had a good race up to then too. I think he was one of the biggest movers too, and that's unfortunately gone wrong. Oh, more Beaver Barge. Yeah, with Bruce Blanchard, I'm going to guess on the exit. Yep. Oh, and again, just a little touch, but that's all it takes to spin it around. That's an interesting one because they were rubbing the whole way down. We'll see here.
Same, very similar to the one we saw before.
Yeah, it is. But I feel like Blanchard was a little straighter maybe. It didn't look like he quite moved as much. I feel like if anything, it looked to me like Paul kinda, same sort of thing, he maybe didn't quite realise it. He sort of hopped under braking, he didn't realise he'd sort of moved across a little on Chris there, and that maybe triggered the initial awkwardness. But the thing, we'll see I guess, because that second, the contact was a bit separate to the initial one. But either way, at the front, they've got 11 seconds on P4 now. These top 3 have absolutely galloped away.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've all just sat there and let Scott Gamble pull them away, haven't they?
Yeah.
So, if the next question is, I think these guys are all pushing as hard as they possibly can. I don't think there's any saving going on up here. I think this is all relative. And Gamble, even with them in the draft, is still pushing reasonably well in terms of pace. Van der Kroon now moves to 11th spot. Made the move on Tim Nicol on that lap. Down the inside, this time, David Kirby gets it done on Damien Gantz. So into the 15 after 3rd last week. And update on Michael Stewart as well, has now made his final stop of the night.
There you go, yeah. He's made that a few laps ago, but he is, as we expected, at the back of the field. But trying to make what he can. He's got a couple of cars ahead he could try and get past, but I think in the end he's going to find that if he just sort of stayed with the strategy of everyone else, I think he would have gained more spots. Because I think he was sitting somewhere in the sort of low 30s, somewhere there, before that last safety car. So I think, yeah, if he just stuck with everybody else, I think he would have gained a bit more back. But anyway, that's okay. Live and learn. Always worth a shot, I suppose, and always sort of learn from that sort of stuff. So I'm sure he will for future weeks. But yeah, Kirby now in the top 15. Another strong little run at the moment. And Can's got to slow down through the Lesmos while he's dropping back, which is a shame. So he'll drop behind that pack now to P19 with David Nash behind him still, I believe, the biggest move. 23 spots for David Nash now for P20. It's a very good run for him.
Mark Poynton's having a go at Christian Smart in the run to Parabolica. They're actually side by side most of the way down in there, and now they're going to get checked up. So this will be an interesting battle. And Smart's going to have to defend this because I think he's lost the toe of the cars up ahead. Or he's right on the fringes of it at this point in time. And Poynton is going to be arriving at turn 1 with a head of steam. Where does he cover? Covers to the inside, and Poynton says, all right, no worries, have at it. Pull across the right-hand side of the road. Let's see if you can get the drive out the other side. Poynton a little bit wide at turn 1, not able to make the opportunity, and then slides the rears out of turn 2 as well.
Yeah. So that sort of decoded that battle there for now, but still going to go at it. Poynton will still have another go. I'm sure Chris Miller's sitting behind him having a good run too. A bunch of really good runs actually in the top 10 as Chad Lewis having to defend as well from Robbie Griffiths. Robbie Griffiths actually looking quite threatening, actually. He was looking a bit vulnerable earlier, but he's looking quite strong now this part of the race. He got by Jeff Thomas, and he's hunting the back of Chad Lewis. So, but it's typical thing as always. Oh, Chris Miller, down the inside of Poynton to Lesmo 1. That's so close between the two of them, but they managed to get through unscathed, and Miller gets it done down to Lesmo 2. So moved on for him up to P8. And look at that now, Stephen Kennedy, look at them all lined up.
Yeah, and now Poynton's going to lose one more because he's not just lost one spot to Miller, he's lost 2 spots to Kennedy. Now he's going to lose 3 as Matt van der Kram is looking for the overlap, looking for the hole to slice on through. He's going to let Poynton back in. Dives it in late under brakes. They're going to go side by side as Leander Ascari. And finally the door gets shut. But I get the feeling that Van der Kram might have felt his nose was chopped off a little bit there, but the space was running out. Now Latham's lining up to have a crack at Tim Nicol, which will advance him in a 12th spot. Backs out of it, it's going to yield. He might have a crack on the run down to turn number 1. Look for a run. Pinch of a break now from Matt van der Kram. Runs him wide at the final corner. And this time by 5 more laps left to run. 30 kilometres-ish left in the race. And here they come for home.
Yep, the home stretch is upon us, and you see John Latham looks like he will indeed get the move done on Tim Nicholls. He now jumps up another spot to P12, and yeah, he's eyeing up that top 10. They're right there to get that position, and they're still battling in front. Jeff Thomas and Robbie Griffiths very close out of the first chicane. I think Jeff might have a go potentially down the chicane here. We'll see. He's trying to get the run. Get a bit of side draft going too, maybe, and see if he dives late. Oh, no, probably very late on the brakes, Robbie Griffiths. He just manages to hold on for now. What that has done is let Chad Lewis get a little bit of breathing room. Not much, but just enough that he can maybe stretch that gap just a little bit. So he'll be seeing them battling and just hoping this keeps going, because it's giving him an opportunity to start to stretch away a little bit at the front of this train. And it's a bit of a gap behind Smart, back to Chris Miller too. So they're all starting to split up just a little bit, but the battling's still very intense now as we enter these last few laps.
Well, the more these guys fight, the more they come back to the train behind them. Just think, if Van der Kram and Latham can cut their way through nice and easily, well, they're losing time to the pack in behind them.
So there is a race control call from Stuart Hall as well.
Something to do with the second chicane, yeah, so...
Oh, I'm just looking now, actually. It was Paul Warwick, actually. Oh, yeah, okay. He'll catch it here on the... Yeah, after the second chicane here, Paul Warwick has a little bit of a look down the inside. There's some contact made. So look from this angle. Let's see. Oh, yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, he was a fair way up. We'll see him give a fair angle if possible, because it's a bit hard here to go, so we can sort of get to see how it is. So he's having a look, sort of half nosing it, and then, oh, yeah, it's a bit late.
That's
very
late.
Yeah.
By the way, there's an update at the front end of the field. Matt van der Kram is now trying to slice down the inside of Mark Poynton on the run down to turn number 1, which will really advance his race prospects of getting deeper inside the top 10. Poynton a little bit deep, means he's going to run him out wide. Hangs onto it, just about hangs onto it, finally gets clear, slots back in, trying to not offer any draft back to Matt van der Kram. But the elbows, ladies and gentlemen, just a bit like jiu-jitsu. They tell you to get the elbows out, use the elbows, and the elbows are certainly out, as are the curbs.
Yeah, oh, over the curb there, Robbie Griffiths. That was a lot of curb. I'd be amazed if it's not a slowdown, to be honest. That was a lot of curb. There you go, it is. Yeah, I thought so. That you can't take that much curb and get away with it in the second chicane. So Robbie Griffiths is going to have to slow down for that. Guessing it'll be after Lesmo 2, he'll peel to the side and serve that. So he's going to drop back a bit more potentially. He should do anyway, unless he's managed to time it very well. There he goes. Now he's starting to back off. I think he's trying to keep in the draft. But he's not going to be able to have too much surely of a slow down there, so he's going to have to let Christian Smart through, and then he's probably going to have to let Miller through. Look at that, you wait a bit too long and it builds up, the slow down keeps coming, and then you got to serve. Oh, gee, that was... Oh, no, he didn't clear it. Oh, no. And
serve him.
Yeah.
You've got to serve it as early as you possibly can,
Yep.
and Robbie Griffiths did not clear that slowdown full stop. Black flag now for Robbie Griffiths for not clearing that slowdown penalty. He was trying to be cheeky, he was trying to cheat the system, and now he's been smacked over the knuckles with a lot more than a ruler.
And that's the thing, isn't it? You risk doing that by trying and be a bit risky. I mean, and that's the thing, isn't it? It's possibly delaying the same thing apparently before hearing from Dan. So it's a couple of positions. Is it worth the risk of a black flag? It's not worth the risk, I don't think. And from what now would have been probably a near assured top 10, he now is going to be way down the field. Such a shame because he had a really nice run up until then, but leaders still nose to tail. They've still been holding on, as you say. Scotty Gamble's been going for it, and obviously Ken and Michael have just been tagging on, keeping with him. Do they have the pace to have a go? We'll see. They're going to have to do it soon because we're going to have 2 to go next time by. We'll see if these guys have the pace to actually challenge Scott, or if they can only really keep with him, Scott.
They're still squabbling over it. Robbie Griffiths is now having a go back at Stephen Kennedy. So even though he's going to be ejected from this battle pack, he had a right royal go back at Kennedy, although Kennedy's making mistakes as a result. Kennedy now runs wide as they come out of the first Lesmo. This is going to present an opportunity. Poynton now starts to close back up onto these guys. This battle now becomes for it's 8th on the road. Take Robbie Griffiths out of it, and Kennedy won't know that. He'll have no idea that there's a drive-through penalty come the way of Robbie Griffiths. No one will be able to tell him and let him know that he needs not worry. But at the same time, this is a buffer. If he can keep Robbie Griffiths between himself and the rest of the cars in behind him, he's got some breathing room, so you still want to hang on to it.
Yeah, and it's a gap to the cars behind him, so he'll want to hold it for that little bit of an air gap he'll get. 'Cause 2 laps to go, any little gap he can get is going to help you in defending positions here. So yeah, he'll want to try and hold this. If anything, Griffiths being behind him is helping him here, because obviously he's going to then peel off and create a gap, so he'll kind of want him to hold on for a bit longer. I think Griffiths is going to wait till onto the last lap.
He can only serve it next lap. He can't go at the end of next lap. If he hasn't served it, he'll be disqualified.
Yeah. I guess he's thinking run at the front while he can before he has to drop back. As there's Grandicran looking at Poynton again.
Well, this is the first opportunity. Vedicran's really hard of a good go down the inside. Poynton's great on the brakes, though, if I've learned something. And now Robbie Griffiths will protect himself anyway. And Latham's been tagged. Latham, the drive through the field, smokes him up at the first chicane. Checked up to avoid the issues up ahead. And he's been turned around from what was looking like a guaranteed drive of the day finish. Now he's just an average one.
Still a lot of spots, but yeah, it's such a shame. Oh, gee, he got absolutely drilled there. Nickel just did not see what was going on in front of him, and just didn't react.
That shot doesn't tell the story. We've got to go on board with Nickel. The only shot that'll tell the true story will be the onboard from Tim Nickel.
Oh, gee, he got a good hit. Nick Rivers on his own. Yeah, he just all on his own went too hot and ran himself off. So it was his own self sort of serve there, and then we'll see here from Nickel his view. Oh yeah. I think he was a little bit gung-ho there, I think. But I guess
that's a lot higher up, and that's a lot more... I guarantee you from the driver's eye view, he would have had no visibility whatsoever.
Oh, that's the replay, sorry, it's true, yes. And also, at that point, you're committed to the corner. You're looking at the corner, getting through the corner, and not necessarily at a car shooting off to the right in front of you. So, there is that to factor in. But last lap, and this is the chance for Ken to have a go.
Yeah, best opportunity is down at turn number 1. He really closes in. And one of the things that's sort of been keeping half an eye on the last couple of laps, Ladder is really good under brakes. Not just in the draft, not just pulling himself all the way up. And he's closed that margin. And I think the games that they're playing is, I'm going to have a go at you, but I'm not going to show you what I've got until the very last lap of the race. Now Gamble's going to pull across the left-hand side. He's forced to cover a little bit. Now his defensive move back to the right-hand side of the road. Ladder showed in the nose. Just wanted to give him the little bit of a sense of, hey, I think you're vulnerable, and vulnerable he is. Now he's going to get a little bit of a wrap on the rear bumper. And Scott Gamble has looked supreme again for 34 laps. Now he's got to try and make it 35. Ladder closes in. Ladder senses that there might just be a fish in the water tonight.
He's definitely got a really good pace now. I think you're right, he's been holding back, waiting to show his full hand here, and he's showing it now as they run down to the scurry. He's got it, it's here or Parabolica. He's got to do either one. And there Scott defends straight away. He's aware of what he's doing. Defends the inside. Oh, Ken is right there. If these two come together, Michael Whiting is in the prime spot to steal a win here, but I think we'll see what they do down here. It looks like Ken's a pretty good run. Here we go. I think the send's coming, Scott.
Well, the thing is, that for me is the line. I think if you're any further moving across from Scott Gamble's shoes, you've crossed the line. But he's run up against that line. He's run right up against it. Now they run down to the line to the final corner, trying to get the drive out. He tried to go the long way. He certainly harassed and harangued him and threw everything he's got. But Scott Gamble's going to win another one. Ladder's going to give it up for the championship to Michael Whiting because he can score some points and move into second place tonight overall. So he did the team game, but first he wanted to have a crack and see if he could win the race. For Chad Lewis, great night at the office for the 737. Best finish in a very long time for Chad Lewis. He'll be pumped up with that finish. The driver's in behind him, Christian Smart, Christian Miller. Means there's going to be 4 Fishy Motorsports cars inside the top 6.
Something happened to Jeff Thomas too. He dropped down to 10th on that last lap, so I don't know what happened to him.
Out of fuel.
Out of fuel. Yeah, it was the fuel game. There you go. So that... Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so unfortunately the fuel game caught up with him in the end, but still top 10. But shame from what could have been. There's some 3 wide over the line there further back. But yeah, what a great win again from Scott. But wasn't easy. Ken was on him the whole time, especially that last stint. Ken was there, just as we said, just waiting, biding his time, and then had to go at the very end, and not quite able to get it done. But yeah, he definitely wasn't quite as cruisy as last week there. So.
Well, when you come to Monza, F1's had it. Supercar, I guarantee supercars heading to this place would be brilliant to watch. Just do it 1 year. Just one trip to Europe. Go to Spa, go to Monza, go to Portimao. Those would be the 3 for me to European Lake. Just one time for V8 supercars. Scott Gamble will win another one, and it's becoming a long list of victories in his title defense, and he has gone another step forward in doing that tonight. Most laps led. Basically, it was only the safety car laps that he didn't lead, and the off-sequence laps, which was only a couple in the grand scheme of things, but everyone that was on strategy with him did not lead a lap. It was only cars off strategy. Another brilliant night at the office. How about John Latham, though? Because he was also on the radio again for something else that happened on that final lap. Whilst he was running just outside the top 10, finishes 34th. Oh. 34th.
Yeah, so he had another instance. So he's obviously had the spin, and he's had another one again. So what a shame, God. He had such a good run, and then right at the death, it's all sort of come undone for him. So this is with final lap. I think it's the Cesar gives him a turn into turn 1 again. So he's not liking turn 1 at the moment, and then he's just having to wait. Yeah, having to wait for people to go by to get going again. God, that's such a shame. Such a shame. It's all come undone. That's all it takes. One instant to bring you out of the rhythm, and then it can snowball. That's just unfortunate what happened to John there, as we see. Gee, that is a big hit. Final corner forward.
He was actually the last car on the lead lap. Yeah. So he at that point in time, so he was at 38th at that point in time, which meant that he was the final car on the lead lap. So he couldn't lose a spot. So he was just having some fun.
It might just be despair at how wrong it all went, which is fair enough too. So I know it's also Warwick also was further back than he should have been, because he was further up as well. So it must have been fuel. There you go. So Latham. So in the end, Latham might have been in trouble anyway with fuel too. So short would be supremely short.
But then again, he look at the amount of lighting up at the tyres he did with the car flipped back around. He might have been a lot closer.
Yeah.
He's probably spent a good, I'd say 200 mil worth of fuel just to get that car flipped around and facing the right direction. 200 mil of fuel might get you out of the last corner. Won't get you to the line, but...
Yeah. Drama.
Wow. It just never fails to deliver in the final few laps. You know, it always offers something up. Well, it's another race victory for the number 1 car. Scott Gamble, we already mentioned it, will come home with the race lead. Michael Whiting sits second after being given a spot by Ken Ladder on the final lap of the race. The reason for that, Ken Ladder's already, he's got 2 rounds that he won't be able to make it for the season, and unfortunately he's also had a couple of other bad rounds, so he's offering up points to his teammates because he's just not relevant in terms of championship standings. This is why I gave that position up on the final lap. 16 seconds, we have to cast our eyes further back to that next battle pack, but Chad Lewis rose to the top of that one from Christian Smart and Chris Miller. Stephen Kennedy, Mark Poynton, Matt Vanderkraan, and John Latham had a cracking battle and unfortunately came unstuck. Robbie Griffiths was in that one as well. Jeff Thomas was a little bit further up the field, fell by the wayside in the final lap, also with fuel dramas late on in the race.
Yeah, and it's a lot of that again from last week as well. Some stories with the fuel, which is a big shame for them, but that's how it goes. Tim Nicol ends up in 11th from 20th, so a good run from him. Darren Crosby 18th to 12th, good run too. David Kirby in 13th from Damien Cairns. Jason Fewens, another good run, actually 31st to 15th, so a really nice run there from Jason, just keeping the nose clean, picking up spots as he went. Stewie Hall in 16th. David Nash, 43rd to 17th. What a great race from him. Very, very well done from David Nash, especially at a track like this where avoiding dramas can be very difficult. Gary Buckland in 18th. Stephen Varga in 19th, 29th to 19th, another very good run. And Dean Favell rounds out the 20. Did not see the meter tonight, Scott, but I would say it was quite high for a lot of it.
Yeah, a few drivers a little bit further down that had a lot going on, and there was a lot of battles and squabbles going up and down the field. I can't believe Blake Delaney was only able to rescue 22nd place out of that one. Something probably lack of practice, like you said, always travelling in terms of things meant that not a lot of practice was available for him. Brad Doble also talked about his dramas. That's actually a reasonable recovery effort from Brad Doble, so good to see that one as well. Chris Blanchard gets home in 24th after a few bumps and scrapes for him. Reasonable night at the office. He'll probably be quite happy with that one. Stephen Gretsch. Robbie Crisdale, after being off cycle and off sequence for a very long period of the race, recovers to a 26th spot. That's actually not a half bad drive. Hal Cesar was also on that strategy. Finishes 27th as well. Darren Goosey and Paul Burns had a little bit of drama, and Michael Stewart threw everything at the alternate strategy, not able to make it work for 30th.
Yeah, shame for him that it didn't work out, but still managed to get top 30, I suppose, to salvage some points out of it. Glenn Corbett ends up in 31st with Gene Caparonis. Some deliveries along the way, still ends up to get 32nd, racing and delivering some buns as well. I mean, what else do you want, really? Shane Randall ends up in 33rd with John Latham ending up 34th after those dramas at the end. Huge shame from a really good race. I mean, Robbie Griffiths, that black flag ends up costing him a top 10 down to 35th for him, so massive heartbreak there. Another heartbreak in Travis Hunt, being turned there after out of the first corner, and then Craig Friend ends up last on the lead lap in 37th after that blown engine, with Paul Warwick, as we saw, crashing at the line. Mario Reale 39th, Scott McCune ends up 40th the lap down, and then your retirements, Scotty Van Loon and Jamie McKnight, your 2 retirements from this race, to round out the field. And well, I think we have to still decide driver of the day, don't we? And I mean, I'd say I'm thinking David Nash for that.
I'm thinking David Nash as well.
Yep.
The reason I'm thinking David Nash is because he got turned early. He went to the back.
Yep.
He started at the back. He drove his way a good 10 or 12 places through on that first lap. Then he's also driven back to 17. So effectively, add another 12 or so places gained.
I was about to say, I did mention about that. There is the Dino Dino. It's up. Oh yeah, it is updated. Look at that. That is. Yeah, you got under the pump. You got. Oh wow, that's a lot of good stuff. That is all. And you got the sponsors going through too. That is
He's
fantastic.
He's never working hard. Has anyone ever seen Dean out of at idle? I swear, the man never gets running. Anyway, we are going to get running with our podium interviews. So we're going to start from the bottom up. We're going to talk to the driver who let his teammate on through to finish in 3rd place. We understand the reason behind that one. It's obviously just supporting your teammate out. But yeah, had a good old crack at Scotty there tonight. And you rattled his cage just a little bit. He rattled yours back. Good hard racing.
Yeah, we'll have to try and push him. But, you know, he wanted to do it fairly. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to just get that little bit more on him, but he was quick. Like, even in the draft, he was quick. So you got to hand it to him.
I mean, Monza, it's about making sure you can pull it up at the chicanes. It's about making sure that you can look after the car. It's about making sure that you're still relevant in terms of things. The strategy went quite a mixture of ways. That middle segment of the race, you had to overtake quite a number of cars that were actually off sequence compared to you.
Yeah, also too, like Scotty and I and Michael, we all took full fuel in the first one. and I got caught a bit sleeping on the restart on that one, and then on the second pit stop I had a bit of damage, so I sort of stayed in there to try and clear it. I didn't get it all cleared, but you know, obviously then I had to sort of make a few more moves to try and get back up to the front. So
mate, it is tough, it is a little bit rough sometimes, but you know, driving your way through, we talked that we knew that you were going to be a little bit out of sequence in terms of things. Championships recovered. You had that really bad round at Detroit Belle Isle, but once you get to these more open tracks, that seems to be where the real flow starts to come together for you.
yeah, well, for some reason, you know, the flowy sort of tracks I always seem to be reasonably quick at, and you know, also too, but they become a bit more of a draft track as well, because there's always flowing corners with long straights generally, so it helps keep, you know, the guys that are within 0.2, 0.3 of each other, you know, it's quite easy for them to be stuck together in a pack and no one can break away. So that certainly makes it more interesting.
Yeah, in terms of things, you know, we're in the back half of the season now. I think, you know, round 6 now in the books from Monza. We head to Imola next week out. Relative to Monza, it's just Monza with just a few extra complicated bits and pieces. It's actually quite similar in terms of the way that you take the chicanes and bounce it over the curbs. What's the confidence level like for 250 kilometres next week at Imola?
Yeah, I'm always strong there, so yeah, I hope it's another close one, and hopefully I can bring it to Scotty, and hopefully Whiting comes with me.
All right, mate, finally the floor's all yours to make the thank yous and shout outs that you'd like to give.
Oh, thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast. It's always a joy to watch. And all the Fishy boys, and Scotty for winning the race, and Whiting, he drove a fantastic race tonight. Our sponsors, West End Motor Group, Infinity Design, DC Shades, Battery Warehouse, Early Beach, Precision Gym Training. Thank you.
Mate, congratulations and good to chat to you again, and we'll let you go and celebrate with the team.
Awesome, cheers.
Take one step further up the podium. We're going to be talking to the second fish, and Thomas Hens is with Michael Whiting now.
Hey guys.
Hey, how you going, Michael? Well done for tonight. Really well driven. Ninth to second. It's a fantastic result for you. Look, there was a lot we were trying to keep up with. Lots going on as usual with Monza. It always brings the drama. How is it for you at your end?
Yeah, qualifying wasn't as good as it probably could have been for myself. Had a lot of wheel spin coming out of turn 1, which really hurt the lap time. So started P8, and then it was just a case of try and get past as many as I can to get up with the likes of, you know, Scotty and Kenny and that, to get with the lead pack and try and stay there, and then save as much fuel as I can to try and minimise the stops. But obviously safety cars came into play. So overall was really good race, really.
Yeah, and at the end there with on that last stint with Scotty Gamble, you and obviously Ken were trying to challenge him there. Was it tough to just keep with Scott, because obviously we know how fast he is in general? So was it a bit more difficult to keep in the draft than anticipated, or were you guys just cruising along until those last few laps?
No, Scotty was flying. We were pushing pretty hard just to stay in the draft. Didn't really feel the effects of the draft till you sort of got down to like 0.6, 0.7. I know the draft's, you know, bigger than that in iRacing, but you don't actually start pulling up on the car until we got down to that sort of time frame. So, I mean, you saw Kenny the last few laps of that race where he really was right on the rear bumper bar of Scott. So, unfortunately, couldn't get past him, but that's racing. So,
but another good result for you in the championship too. P2 today, of course. Ken doing the team thing, giving you the points there. So it keeps you looking very strong in the championship. Been a strong run so far this year, and you know, what's been the sort of the secret there for you keeping these good results going?
Practice, really. You know, it helps when a couple of the other series line up with tracks as well, so you're doing the same track all week rather than sort of mixing the tracks up. So that sort of helps with practice, and then bouncing off all the other guys in the team as well, and you know what to do, what gear to be in, and brake bias and bits and pieces that you can actually change. So that helps with strategy in the race and trying to maximise results as well.
Indeed, and looking to next week, obviously Imola, the next track, a bit different to Monza and Daytona. We just had two obviously very draft-heavy tracks. Imola, bit of draft again, but obviously not quite as extreme as the last two. One you're looking forward to?
Yeah, I love Imola. Imola's a great track to race pretty much anything at, so should be a good race. Get plenty of practice in during the week, and we'll see what happens.
have to agree as well. Imola is an awesome track. I'm going to back you on that. Very nice track indeed. But yeah, that's thanks for that, Michael. I'll give you the mic now for any thanks and cheers you want to give.
All the guys at the team, can't do it without them. West End Motor Group, Battery Warehouse, Early Beach, DC Shades, and Infinity Designs. Excuse me, and obviously the wife and family as well. Otherwise, wouldn't be.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Michael. Well done again on your P2, and I'll let you go and celebrate with the team.
Cheers.
Next up and the last, we head to the top of the table. I get to say the line again. We got Scott interviewing Scott. Scott.
Yeah, he's making a habit of this. It's just about each and every week. But tonight was a little bit different. Obviously, the strategy, there was a few boys up and down the field that threw just curveballs in terms of strategy, because why not? I mean, they're not going to do anything sitting back where they were. Just changes the envelope a little bit when you've got to race cars that I would expect those guys, you haven't raced them in a very, very long time, and sometimes that just creates a unique opportunity where something can go wrong. How do you go about managing those sorts of situations?
Yeah, how you going, Scotty, Tom and Dan? Yeah, it was tough. Like, I couldn't believe the first safety car, and there was a few guys stay out, and why not? You know, like you said, mix up the strategy and fair game. But yeah, I was surprised we got past them as easy as what we did. It was probably maybe a couple little mistakes there from them as they were pushing hard, and yeah, it's I guess when I got behind, I think it was Halal Caesar, maybe someone like that in the car there, the Cooler Master car, I thought I'll just save some fuel, you know, because we've got another pit stop. But in the end, I thought maybe we're losing a bit of time here, and Ken was cutting through the pack there, so we knew he'd be fast, and same as Michael, he'd be fast. So yeah, and Travis was fast. So yeah, we just had to go for it pretty much from then, Scotty. And it was just sort of go as, especially the last 20 laps, like the last safety car, that was quali laps, like the best quali laps I could do for 20 laps. Like, it was so hard, but yeah, it was a hell of a good fun and good battle, you know, really good. And these draft tracks, they sure bring other cars back into it, and you know, credit to Ken and Michael, you know, they held in there and gave themselves opportunities.
Those last laps, I mean, they managed to, they said, look, we were just pushing every little stretch that we could just try and stay with him, but then they found something in those last couple of laps. It looked like maybe just the tyres were just going off. You just weren't rotating the car, getting it pulled up as accurately as necessary. You would have liked. You had to get the elbows out, had to get it defensive, but I get the feeling as well, just looking at you, last week was just boring. There was just not a huge deal going on. It's a different kind of race. Tonight, you had to really drive for it, and like you said, qualifying laps the whole way keeps you switched on and keeps you driving.
Yeah, it does, mate. I'm pretty tired from it. We had a big night last night. Didn't go my way last night, so it was good to, you know, have another shot at the track tonight, and it fell into place. But yeah, those Fisher boys, they put on the pressure there, and yeah, had to, like you say, the tyres were cooked, especially that left rear. I'd given it a real hard time, Scotty, and I knew I was going to have to start defending, and it was, well, do I back off early? But when Ken decided to have a go 3 laps out, I thought, no, I've got to keep pushing, because I thought maybe I could rest the tyres for a lap to get them back under me so we could go for the last, you know, lap or two. But yeah, he didn't give me that opportunity. But yeah, good fun, mate. Yeah, really good fun. So I hope it was a good broadcast, and look forward to watching it back later.
Mate, in terms of things, it's just been that many wins on the season. You're just driving that level, 11.5, really above everyone at the moment. There's a good chance that you're going to take another championship, back-to-back titles. Was that something that was on your card that you just wanted to achieve at some point?
Yeah, I've done it before too, Scotty. It was always look as the autumn as a pretty big season for Vet, but the winter season, which is now, I do them in season, is the big one. So you got a lot more time. You're inside a lot more. It's bloody freezing, as you know, down in Vic, and yeah, so you get a little bit more time on the sim, and so I look at them as the big season. So yeah, it was on my mind, and it is on my mind. I'd like to go back to back, but in saying that, Scotty, I go one race at a time. You know, if that's the reward at the end of it, then so be it. That'll be awesome. But if not, it's just one race at a time. Do the best I can, prepare the best I can for it, and go out there and race it, you know?
Next time out, we're heading over to Imola. There's a lot of curb bouncing there, and historically, generally, it's not been, I'll say, a normal endurance round, but generally the V8 supercars categories of all the different series across the Australian sim racing platform have treated Imola in the past as one of those that makes a natural enduro round. Does that mean that you necessarily feel a lot more comfortable racing around Imola, or what's the mindset into next week?
Yeah, look, we all know Imola in the V8 supercars. We've done it a lot. I mean, I haven't done it for a while, but the guys are going to be fast there. So they've done the racing there as well, Scotty. So they're, Ken, Michael, Stewie, Thomas, they're all going to be fast there. So it'll be good. It's not really a full-blown draft track. I mean, you get a little bit down the straight, so it's good to get back onto a circuit like that. And I actually looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to Imola. So we'll get out there, do the best we can, and see what happens. But the guys are going to be tough. They're going to be fast there, mate.
Mate, finally, floor's all yours to make any sponsor shout-outs or thank yous that you'd like to make. Yeah,
big shout out to 95 Sim Sports. They always got me back. They're there, and a bunch of positivity. They had a great race last night, so congrats to them. But to the sponsors that make it happen over there, RaceKraft, Turn-In Apparel, RSW Graphics, Racing Ears, and Prestige Cinematography. We really appreciate the support you guys give us at 95. To yourselves in the broadcast, you do an amazing job. Back to back, it was a big night last night. You've done an amazing job there too, so really looking forward to that. To Ken, good to see him back. What a race, to come back with and really put the pressure on, and as he does, and Michael as well. Great race by him. So, and to the other drivers out there, well done. With another round done, we're getting it towards the back end of the season, so let's kick it off and just have some good racing and good fun. And thanks to the admin and all them that make it happen as well. So, and Jamie for the setups. He's sort of not really getting the recognition he deserves with them, but he does them week in, week out for bloody years now. So, he puts in a lot of effort, puts his heart and soul into it. So, thanks, Jamie.
Mate, congratulations on another solid finish, mate, and I get the feeling we'll probably be talking this time next week as well. Congratulations tonight.
Hope so, mate. See ya.
And finally, Summer Sins, we're going to move across to the Chubby Buns Burgers driver of the day. It's a driver who started from the rear of the field, made up about 10-12 spots in the opening couple laps, then went back to the rear of the field and had to drive his way all the way back through yet again. Finishes at a 17th place. But I get the feeling you passed enough cars that should have been a top 10 finish just because of that spin in the middle of things, David. It was a rough old night for you. There were a few panels beaten on that car by the end of the race. But, hey, reasonable night at the office.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Try not to get off tracks in qualifying, and you should be a bit better than where I started.
So that sets the tail for where you started all the way back there. Was it lap 5 or so that we saw you around? There was something that happened very, very early on in the race, and that safety car it did save you a little bit. Realistically, that second safety car gave you an opportunity to move forward, but she was a rough old night as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Turn 1 at lap 1 was just, it was horrible. So they were pretty much stopped. So it was just trying to avoid any sort of accidents and everything, and just sort of try to keep it clean as much as I could, and I was just picking up spots left, right and centre. So I was happy at the end of it. I was aiming for a 25th onwards, so yeah, managed 17, so even better.
Mate, in terms of things, I know you had a big supporter that was in your corner over the last couple of seasons in Darren Lobb. He was just really banging on your praises, constantly saying, hey, this guy's going to get a podium. It's just a matter of when. The top 10 pace was there. It was there for a little bit. You've fallen a little bit off the wagon at the moment. Just a little less time in the sim is what I'm feeling like for you.
Yeah, I've been training a lot I had my first amateur MMA fight last week.
Oh.
So I did a 20-week camp. So that sort of indulged me too much. So yeah, but I'm free now until October.
Mate, congratulations. And how did the fight go last weekend?
First round TKO win to me, so I was happy.
Hey man, can't complain. So Chubby Buns driver of the day to celebrate. How about that?
Absolutely. I can do it now. Absolutely.
Mate, who would you like to thank that gets it done for you and the team?
Just the 801 Sim Boys, Phoenix Radiators New Zealand, and MDS Internals, and Bliss Homes.
Mate, congratulations. Celebrate and enjoy the Chubby Buns driver of the day.
Awesome. Thanks, gents.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to wrap up your coverage here from the Temple of Speed. 200 kilometres was run and done, and yet again, Scott Gamble came out on top, but that didn't really tell the entire story. Next week, we stay in Italy, and we're going to be heading to the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo Edino Ferrari. That is going to be Thursday, the 1st of August round. I'll be here next week, Thomas Hens, for a round from Imola. She's a brilliant little track. I love the fact that Formula One's gone back here, even though it doesn't suit it. But supercars racing around this track, lots of curbs to smash these things over. Slowdown penalties will be back in force. It's realistically just Monza with more turns.
Pretty much, yeah. It's a very similar vibe, yeah, with the curbs and the slowdowns and just the general lay of the track. So yeah, it's a awesome track. It's V8's obviously been going there for long, pretty much since it released on the service, obviously. And as we said, it's naturally been one that's a lot of enduros have been done at the track. It just sort of suits enduros. Something about it just works for endurance racing. But still, it's going to be a 250k race next week, so kind of a solo enduro of sorts anyway. So it's going to be a lot of that strategy again, but not drafting. Won't be as much drafting. There will be a little bit. The draft is still there, as we said, but it's not as severe, of course, as Daytona and Monza. So to be a bit more of the what we had prior to this round, last 2 rounds, where it'll be not relying as much on the draft. We'll obviously differ the strategies a little bit again. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. As we say, it's always produces good racing. I agree with what Michael's saying. I haven't raced anything there that I haven't enjoyed, so it's always good. So I'm sure it's going to be another fantastic round to witness, Scott.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining in for another V8 Veterans race from the Temple of Speed. On behalf of everyone here behind the SimSpeed commentary booth, on behalf of myself, Thomas Hens, Dan Yeaman, on your production crew here tonight, all the sponsors that make it possible. This is called the RaceKraft Simulations V8 Veterans Season 20 Championship. Please continue to support our proud naming rights sponsor. To the minor sponsors that have also come on board, and if you're looking to get your name up there in lights, if you've got a business that can also contribute to the league, there's always minor sponsorship packages available. Get in touch with the league through the Discord to participate. The sponsors that make it possible through those sorts of arrangements are Player One Sim Gear, Nova Sim Sports, Logitech G, Parramatta Isuzu Ute, Chubby Buns Burgers, who also sponsor your driver of the day, and Sud Speed. Those are the sponsors that make everything that we do here at the V8 Veterans possible. And finally, on behalf of RaceKraft, the V8 Veterans Championship, on everyone that's tuned in, on the drivers and everyone, we wish you a lovely week. We'll see you next week from Imola when we go racing for round number 7 of Season 20.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.